Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because, wow, we are going to unpack something incredibly powerful. If you've ever gone through a tough breakup or maybe just a period of really intense distance in a relationship, you have definitely felt this. It's an overwhelming, almost suffocating pressure. Well, today we are totally dismantling a massive psychological trap that literally catches almost everyone completely off guard. We're going to tap into the Stoic mindset to figure out how you can survive and actually conquer what we call the imagined audience. Let's just jump right into it.
So be totally honest with yourself for a second here. Who are you actually being strong for? Seriously, think about it. Because after things fall apart, this really powerful, creeping feeling sets in. It's that sense that she is watching you. You know the feeling, right? Monitoring you from a distance, just waiting to see if you'll break, or if you'll cave and reach out first, or if you're just going to completely fall apart. And man, that feeling puts an immense, heavy pressure squarely on your shoulders. Suddenly, every single move you make feels like this high-stakes performance. It is intense, it's exhausting, and look, it is entirely valid that you're feeling this way right now.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the imagined audience. To figure out how to break free from all this pressure, we've got to understand where this feeling of being constantly monitored actually comes from. Like, why does it feel so undeniably real? Well, we need to clinically break down why that urge to just give in, shoot off a text, and crack is so completely overwhelming. Listen, this is not a weakness of character at all. This is pure biology. When a really deep bond is severed, your brain literally enters a state of withdrawal. You experience these intense cravings to reconnect, just to relieve that neurological pain of loss. And of course, these cravings usually peak late at night when the loneliness is the absolute loudest. But then, and here's the kicker, layered right on top of that biological pain is this huge fear of her witnessing your weakness. So you're stuck. You are caught in this brutal tug of war between a desperate craving to reach out and an absolute terror of her seeing you fall apart.
But here is the stark realization that changes absolutely everything. That feeling of being watched. It's largely a construction of your own mind. Yep, sure, she might occasionally be curious, but a massive part of this audience you're feeling is just a projection. It's your own lingering attachment, amplifying the whole situation, and so you feel like you're living under this constant invisible gaze. And the truth? That watcher mostly just exists in your own head. You are basically tormenting yourself with an imagined judgment.
Which brings us to Section 2, the trap of performing. Let's look at the hidden danger and how you might be coping right now.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens next. See, once you feel like you're being watched, your natural instinct is to adapt, right? On one hand, you might fear performing weakness, cracking, sending desperate texts, basically showing you can't handle the separation. Nobody wants to do that. So naturally, you swing as far as you can in the total opposite direction, performing strength. You project that you are completely unbothered, meticulously curating your image online. And hey, it kind of feels like winning, doesn't it? But here's the secret. Both of these scenarios are the exact same trap. Because in both of these situations, she is still the audience. She is still the one completely controlling your actions.
Now let's look at this, because this is the major narrative twist that catches almost everyone completely off guard. If your whole motivation is to not crack in front of her, then she's still completely in control of you. Just really think about that for a second. If everything you're doing is entirely oriented around her perception of you, you haven't actually found freedom at all. You've just swapped out the costume. Staying strong just for her gaze is not freedom. No way. It is imprisonment, and it's just wearing a very, very convincing costume of strength.
So let's flip the script. Section 3, the paradigm shift. So how do we actually break out of this mental prison? Well, we have to completely dismantle this illusion of the audience and shift our energy. Read this. You don't actually know she's watching. Just let that sink in like a gut punch. You don't know. You literally cannot verify it. She might be checking up on you, sure, but she also might barely be thinking about you at all. Just think about the absolutely exhausting amount of energy you have wasted, the anxiety you've generated, performing for an audience that might literally be staring at an empty theater. The second you truly absorb this fact, an enormous amount of that pressure simply dissolves.
This is the crucial pivot of this whole explainer right here. To truly shift your paradigm, we have to completely redefine what cracking actually means. The old definition, that made it all about her. It was all about showing weakness to her. But the new definition, this changes the game entirely. The new definition of cracking is abandoning your own healing. It's not about her witnessing your pain anymore. True cracking is betraying your own peace. It's letting the pain pull you back into something that you know isn't good for you.
And that brings us to this incredible point, summarized perfectly by this Stoic principle. True freedom means acting from your own values and your own center, not performing for anyone's approval. If cracking actually means abandoning yourself, then staying strong is simply about being faithful to your own healing process. Real integrity, just like the Stoics teach us, is what you do when absolutely no one is looking.
Moving right along to Section 4, Performance versus Genuine Strength.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how clearly it shows the stark difference between faking it and actually doing the real internal work. Look at perform strength. Its source is external validation, which ultimately leaves you feeling incredibly exhausted and fragile. And why is that? Well, because you're constantly maintaining this exhausting facade for an audience that is literally just her imagined gaze. But then look at genuine strength. That comes from a deep internal commitment. The effect? It leaves you feeling completely free and totally unshakable. Why? Because the only audience you're worried about is yourself.
I need to state this as plainly as possible. Real strength cannot be performed. You literally cannot post enough perfectly curated pictures or project enough fake indifference to somehow fake your way into being an unbreakable man. It just doesn't work. Performed strength is a fragile, paper-thin costume. Genuine strength, on the other hand, is an actual, solid internal state. And getting there requires the quiet, unglamorous, and deeply personal work of actually healing yourself.
Section 5, Stop Performing, Start Living. Let's get into the solution.
It is officially time to step off that stage you've built in your mind. And here are the concrete steps to actually make this shift happen. Step 1. Stop the performance. Consciously choose to stop curating your life for an imagined gaze. Just drop the act. Step 2. Redefine your strength for yourself. Make your healing strictly about your own peace of mind, not how she perceives you. And Step 3. Pour your energy into genuinely living. Because here's the magic trick. When you become completely 100% absorbed in building your own life, hitting your goals, cultivating your mind, and just being present with your friends, something beautiful happens. You get so busy actually living your life that the imagined audience just naturally fades away into nothingness.
This quote right here, this is the ultimate destination. A man who is genuinely strong for himself can never be cracked by anyone. When your strength is completely for you, when it's entirely internal and completely independent of anyone else's gaze, the whole question of whether she's watching or not becomes totally irrelevant. You become the unbreakable man, not because you're somehow perfectly hiding your pain, but because you've genuinely healed it.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this lingering thought to chew on. Will you stay on the stage, completely exhausting yourself for an audience that might not even be there? Or will you step off, let go of the performance once and for all, and finally start living for yourself? Challenge yourself to take full ownership of your healing today, because at the end of the day, the only gaze that truly matters is your own. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I am so excited to see you apply this Stoic mindset to your own life. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll catch you next time.